If you don't want to take someone's last name for marriage, or don't believe in prenups or believe in prenups, or don't want to have kids or never want to get married, someone is always going to have an opinion. Welcome to Carla Turned On, where dating and relationships get real, sex gets talked about, and the BS gets left on red. Let's get turned on. And this is exactly why I want to talk about today with you how opting out of these relationship scripts or social norms that we are supposed to be doing can create absolute fucking chaos for others around you. And maybe even yourself. You could be like, well, I am guilty as charged. I've judged my friends for deciding not to ever have kids, or I have judged my friends for how they handle their money business. But here's the truth. It's not that these choices are wrong. It actually challenges cultural norms, societal beliefs, and it actually makes you think and wonder, why? Why am I actually choosing this? And that can be uncomfortable as hell and very controversial. I'm also going to dive into our taco about it, talking about coming and orgasms and how sexuality is fluid. And before you're like, oh my gosh, I'm freaking out, like I'm straight, Carla. Or maybe you don't identify with a certain category of what you should be in your terms of your sexuality. We're going to break down how there are many people who are not maybe quote unquote straight, but prefer to date the opposite sex or prefer to be with the opposite sex. Or maybe they're just open to anything. And we're going to talk all about that in just a minute here. But first, let's dive into those non-traditional social norms that make people uncomfortable as hell. It's wild how people's personal choices that literally affect nobody can become such a heated topic, especially when we are discussing prenups or whether to have kids or not have kids, whether you want to get married or not get married, whether you want to get married and have separate bank accounts or combine your bank accounts together, whether you want to take someone's last name or not, whether you want to be in an open or monogamous relationship. All of these things can make people feel really uncomfortable. And here's the damn truth. I'm going to tell you, as a dating and relationship coach and a professional in this space, do whatever the fuck you want. But most importantly, even if you decide, okay, I want to get married and I want to take the person's last name, the man's last name. Okay, we're going to do like a traditional what people are doing, right? Like what people have been doing. You take the person's last name and you're like, okay, great. But did you make a conscious choice around why you're choosing that? And I am not saying that is right or wrong. I'm going to say, as a woman, I chose to keep my own last name, Romo, when I got married to my husband. And I will tell you right now, I consciously made that choice. It was not yes, I 100% consider myself a feminist. And before anybody freaks out and is like, oh my God, she's a feminist, she hates men. No, that is feminism weaponized. I believe women should have equity and equality to men, and they should be able to make choices around their body and autonomy that is best for themselves, and that they aren't treated as second-class citizens. So that is what I look at as equality and equity when I look at feminism. It doesn't actually have anything to do with hating men or not hating men. That is it weaponized. So going back into this, as I was looking at, well, do I take my husband's last name? Do I keep my own last name? Professionally, I'm Carla Romo. You know me as Carla Romo. But maybe in my private life, I take his last name. I don't know. I looked into this. And what I actually came up with is, as a woman, you will never have a woman's last name. Unless you made one up and then you're like, I'm going to create this as my last name and this is it. But as a woman, you will always have a man's last name. Whether it is your father's last name or whether it is a lesbian couple who has a baby, that last name will be because of that person's father's last name. Like, it goes back, like the lineage goes back to men always, no matter what. And so what I was looking at when I was deciding this was, I am Carla Romo. I'm laughing because when I first started my business, it was IamCarlaRomo.com, because CarlaRomo.com was really expensive at the time for starting a business and not having a lot of upfront costs. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to keep this cost low and do I Am Carla Romo. So that ended up being my social media tags and like all that kind of stuff. But I was like, I'm Carla Romo. This is who I am. And to be honest, my husband didn't care at all. He wasn't like, oh, we really need to be unified or anything like that. When we have kids, we already have come up with a system of how it's going to work with the last names. So it's what works for us. But it made people uncomfortable. And here's the truth, right? I know I'm using this as an example, but I ask clients all the time. Anytime that somebody comes to sit with me in a client session, whether it is a man or whether it is a woman, I always ask them if they're in the childbearing stage. I ask them the question, do you want kids or do you not want kids? And then I always ask, do you want to get married or do you not want to get married? Because if I just went into these sessions with the social expectations that everybody needs to get married and everybody needs to have kids, that would be really effed up because it means me as a coach has not allowed somebody else to critically think and make the choices that they should do on their own. However, when you are in family functions or you're getting together with friends and you're chatting about somebody who is not maybe following what the social norms are, boom, all of a sudden everybody's talking and everyone's gossiping. Can you believe that they have separate bank accounts? That's crazy. No, it's not crazy. Can you believe that he's making her get a prenup? No, that's not crazy. Because here's the deal when you have to get a prenup both people have to agree to it. And also, the other side note of a prenup is that when people are creating the prenup, it has to be so equal. Otherwise, the prenup will not count in court. When people are like, well, get a prenup to protect yourself. The prenup's actually really to protect both people. It's not to protect just one person. It's to protect both of you. And it actually has to look like it's protection on both aisles. Otherwise, it doesn't count in court. Well, okay, I am not a, let me back up. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not providing you legal advice, but I will say this, that it has to be equal. If it was like when we get divorced, this person's taking everything and this person's having nothing, it probably wouldn't hold up. But here is really what is underneath all these controversial takes is that most people are not actually judging you. They are comparing themselves to you and your decisions. And what they're asking themselves, did I make the right choice? Am what I doing okay? Is it normal? Oh my God. Should I have done this? Should I have done that? And the reality is that no, maybe if you didn't want to get married, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. That is the choice that you made and that you were able to communicate and express to the person that you're with and in a relationship with that you both are okay with not getting married. Some people see marriage as just pure paper, a legal contract. And that's okay. What actually is important is the communication and the active reasoning, the active exploring of why someone would make a choice around getting married or not getting married. And making sure, obviously, that your partner is on board with that too, because that is so key when it comes to communication, healthy relationships, vulnerability, connection, safety, emotional intimacy, blah, blah, blah. I could go on and on and on. But it hits a nerve for people because what is going through their head? Money, gender roles, power dynamics, timelines. Am I matching up? Am I doing everything right? I can tell you how much timelines play a role on someone's psyche when it comes to dating or relationships. You cannot deny that. I have so many clients who will come to me at all ages. So I hope if you're listening and you're like, well, I'm 30 and I'm really worried I'm never going to get married. I'm never going to have kids. And if you are 60 and you're like, I'm worried I'm never going to find somebody and I want to be able to have this chapter of my life with somebody, but I'm not going to ever find them and then I'm going to end up alone, right? Like all those fears, all those thoughts, they can come up and arise at any stage in life. And we look at these timelines and sometimes we make decisions around these timelines that aren't even conscious. Sometimes we get into relationships that don't work for us. I've had clients who said to me, men and women, I felt in my 30s I was running out of time. So I married this person. I knew it didn't feel right. Or I married this person, but there were hesitations around it. I married this person because I wanted just to not be alone anymore. Or I married this person, I was getting so much pressure from family. And then they were like, well, yeah, now I'm dating again because I'm divorced and it didn't work out. And I'm much more confident in my choices now, but I made choices around fear. It is so fucking hard to make a conscious choice. It is so hard. You know, I'm going to bring this up, but when I got married, somebody had asked, so wait, are you Mrs. or are you not Mrs. because you didn't take the last name? Like, no, I'm Mrs. Romo. That's fine. Like, I don't mind that. It trips people up. It really trips people up. I also had some people say to me, "Oh, I understand why you kept Romo. It's because your business." And I was like, "Actually, no. I kept Romo because I'm Carla Romo. This is who I am. This is my identity and my husband's really supportive of it. So that's the choice that we made. And I didn't need to owe anybody an explanation, but I do think it feels good to be able to stick up for myself and be able to stand by the choices that I've consciously made. There really is no right or wrong way to live your life. You are the one who has to show up to living life. I've also had clients who have chosen their careers over children, and sometimes they have regrets. This is men and women. This is not just a woman thing. So much gets put on women. Oh my gosh, she's getting so old. Oh my God, is she going to have kids? She's putting her career over it. Nobody says that shit to men, but men feel it too. Men feel the pressure. I talk to clients all the time about how they feel this pressure to get married, have kids. All their friends are engaged or all their friends are married. And oh my gosh, I'm single. And I think the reality of all of this is that you are the only one who has to show up day in and day out and live your fucking life. You have to be the one who's excited to wake up. You have to be the one who is excited about your life choices. You have to be the one to do what feels empowering to you. And if something doesn't fit that structure or something doesn't fit that mold, it's important to explore what's the resistance or why are we choosing this? This is another really perfect example around people who choose not to be in monogamous relationships. So, if you're not in a monogamous relationship, that could look all over the spectrum of, polyamorous, open, like there's tons of different ways that you could look at this, but ultimately, we're just going to pivot into okay, if you're monogamous, you're just with one person. Non-monogamy is opening up into a different area. The reality of that is if you were going to explore that, it's because you want to explore it together with a partner. Or maybe you're single and you're like, I don't want to be monogamous, so I am going to take time to explore what this looks like for me and date intentionally around deciding, okay, do I want to date people who are monogamous and are okay with me being open in it or not? You have to do what's going to work best for you. And a lot of people are like, oh my God, that's cheating. No, in a healthy relationship that's non monogamous, you have boundaries. You have communication that needs to be open. And this is not always the case. I have coached many clients explore whether they wanted open relationships, whether they wanted just to be monogamous, whether they were comfortable dating somebody who wasn't monogamous and what their part was in it. But this is the key here. It doesn't matter. They both have to be conscious choices. I'm gonna say this because I think this is so important. Hey, real quick, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you want dating support, don't forget to look in the notes below where you can learn all about my guides and how to work with me. And if you want to follow me on my socials, you can find me anywhere at I am Carla Romo. Let's get turned on. If you're single, and maybe actually if you're in a relationship, this is something to think about too, or even married, how do you want to be in that relationship? Because we don't always consciously think about this. When I was going on dates, I would talk to dates and say, hey, what's your kind of idea of relationship roles and what a relationship would look like? Some people think it's taboo to be 50-50. My husband and I are 50-50 in our relationship. Now, we're not really 50-50. I use 50-50 in quotes because at times somebody has to pick up the slack more than somebody else. We don't live in a utopia of 50-50, but we have had conversations around the mental load of women having to make decisions around birthdays and having to remind somebody to get your mom a birthday card, or, oh, we need to schedule this with our friends and I'm going to do all the planning and I'm going to remind you that we have dinner tonight at 7 p.m. We have talked about all of that, and divorce rates are rising because women are feeling that they're taking on this mental load and that being single would just be easier because I don't have that partner to add to it. Now, if you're a dude listening before you're like, oh my God, what? No, don't worry. Like, the idea is to think consciously about these things and to grow and to learn. Okay. I'm not blaming men here or anything like that. But this is a real problem that women are facing right now, especially in the millennial generation, is what I'm referring to. Shout out to you, millennials. What's up? What's up? My mom the other day, she's single, she's dating, and she was like, I am not here to be a nurse or a purse. And I was like, you go on, Ma. Like, I was like, hell yeah. I love that saying, a nurse or a purse. But the truth is that we have to consciously choose what we want and what that looks like. I have clients who are women and are like, yeah, I want more traditional roles. Like, I'm totally fine, like, not working. I'm totally fine staying home. And when we have kids or just taking care of things at the house, totally fine with that. That's okay. And this is part of why I say I'm a feminist, because that's her choice. She's choosing that with her partner. She's able to choose whether she wanted to work or whether she wanted to stay home, right? She's not suppressed and told that she just has to stay home. In terms of men, I have some male clients who are looking for more traditional roles. They want to be the provider, they want to be the caretaker. And we talk about why that's a value so that when they get out there and they're dating, that they're looking for somebody and can have these conversations around values and gender roles, because that's key and that's important. It's so important, though, to evaluate where you're at. It never hurts, even if you're married. Where are you at right now? Are you happy with the way things are being divided in your household? Are you happy with the way that you're planning for a future of a family? Or are you happy that you guys decided not to have kids? It's okay to reevaluate. And actually, it's fucking important to consciously show up to life and make these decisions for yourself. So fuck the norm and do whatever the hell that you want. And now we're going to talk about it, talking about coming on orgasms. And since we're kind of on this little trajectory of non-traditional taboo, controversial takes right now, I want to talk about sexuality. When it comes to sexuality, I do not believe that anybody is 100% straight or anybody is 100% gay or a lesbian. I don't believe in sexuality as this black and white on and off switch. And I'm going to explain why. If you're like, oh, I'm feeling uncomfortable, Carla, I don't know about that. No, I'm straight. That's fine. I want this to be a discussion. I want this to be something to kind of just think about, because the reason I see sexuality as fluid is I am somebody who considers myself straight. I have only ever had relationships with men. I've only ever had intimate feelings toward men, and that is who I've always been drawn to. However, if I am walking around or I don't know, I'm watching, celebrity on TV or something like that, and it's a woman, I can take note that that person is attractive. I can look at her and be like, oh, wow, damn, she's beautiful. Oh my gosh. And there has to be some sort of sexual appeal to be able to say or see that somebody from the same sex as me, another woman, is beautiful or is really pretty. However, and this is something that I've talked a lot with friends about, is for me, that's where it ends. Like, I don't look at it from a place of, oh, I kind of want to sleep with her, or maybe I have feelings for her, or I want to go talk to her. I have it from a place of almost admiration of, wow, her hair is so beautiful. How did she get it like that? I want hair like that. Oh, wow, she's really pretty, or her smile is so nice, or the way she did her makeup looks so good, or wow, that shirt makes her body look really good. There's things that I can see and I can take away. But if we were 100% straight, okay, like in the sense of there wasn't this fluidity in it of sexuality, then I wouldn't even be able to see or recognize that somebody was attractive of the same sex. So when I say fluid, it doesn't have to mean that, oh, we're all attracted in this sexual way of like wanting to sleep with somebody and take it there. But we have to be consciously able to recognize, oh, yeah, like this person is attractive, and what plays into attractiveness? Sexuality does. Now, for men, I will say that there's a lot of conditioning around, anybody here watch Heated Rivalry? My God. Okay, if you haven't watched Heated Rivalry, it's okay. A couple months late talking about Heated Rivalry, but I'm going to tell you right now, Heated Rivalry is a perfect example around how men are conditioned. Okay, if anybody's like, what is Heated Rivalry? It's a show that is about these two hockey players, masculine hockey players, and they end up having this like yearning for each other over years and years and years, and they hook up and there's sexual tension. And then I'm not going to share the rest, but because I would give away spoilers here, and I'm not doing that on Carla Turned On. But basically what happens in it is there is this hidden truth behind their sexuality. And there are so many people today that you probably know who have either hid for a long time in terms of not coming out with their sexuality, who don't feel like they can be fully open to maybe their parents, but are open to you or their friends. That's hard. I saw this hilarious thing where this woman was like, if sexuality was a choice, like I'd stop choosing men after getting my heart broken every single time. But here's the truth is that men are so conditioned to, you got to be masculine. You got to be manly, especially in sports. You can't show vulnerability, especially sexuality. And oh no, we're not going to go there, whether you're bisexual or whether you identify as gay or anything like that. And it can feel very confusing for people. I have coached over 1,000 clients, and I can tell you right now that I have had many women, and now when I say many, it's not like half the women I coach, but more than you would probably think. Many women who identify as straight or are dating to date men, not to date women, have either had relationships with women or sexual relationships with women and are in a place where they're like, you know what? It was good or it was fine. And now I want to date men. That's common. It's more common than you probably realize or think about. And a lot of times when people are sharing that with me, they feel a lot of shame around it. There's no shame in our sexuality. It is a way that we feel and it's a way that we connect. And love is love. And I know that gets said all the time. Love is love. Attraction is attraction. It's just part we put so many conditions on it as a society and so much negativity toward it. I had a client, she's like, "Yeah, I dated women for a little while, but you know what? I wanna date men, and I wanna get married to a man." Like, that's what I've decided and consciously have chosen. That's fine. I've also had clients as well who are gay or bisexual or lesbians and are comfortable in that choice of being there and are there and are dating openly in that space and are good in it. Here's the thing though, I will tell you is that over time of dating different clients who are LGBTQ, I can tell you right now that what's important is to consciously show up for yourself around these things. I haven't had any male clients who have shared about any sexual experiences with men, but who present as straight and or who are dating in a way of wanting to date women or marry women. But I can guarantee I absolutely have. They just probably haven't felt comfortable or safe talking about it. Whereas women are much more comfortable or feel safe talking about it. I'm going to give you this perfect example. My friends and I were talking about threesomes, and we were having a whole discussion about people who have threesomes in relationships, people who have threesomes when they're single, joining into relationships. I don't, we were just having, we were at dinner and we were just like talking about sex and started having this big conversation. And what was interesting is we were going around the table saying who you would feel comfortable having a threesome with as a woman, okay? And it was about split. Half the women at the table were saying that they feel comfortable having it with either their boyfriends or husbands and then another woman. And the other half said that they would feel comfortable having it with their boyfriends or husbands and another man. But there was no shame around it. Nobody was shaming or like, oh my God, is she a lesbian? Oh, do you think this is a cover? Do you think she really likes women and is only dating men or only with her husband because it's a cover? Nobody was saying that. We were all very accepting and just having a discussion about sex because at the end of the day, sexuality is fluid. No shame in the dating game. Loved this episode? Rate it 5 stars, hit that subscribe button, baby, and leave a review. Do you want to work with me? Grab my dating courses, apply for my coaching at carlaromo.com or find it all in the show notes, and give me a little follow at I am Carla Romo on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Catch you next time and stay tuned. Carla Turned On is for educational and entertainment purposes only. This is not a substitute for therapy. For professional support, please reach out to a licensed mental health provider.